guys, Jean-Stephane here on the brand new DVD Blu-ray Tuesday Shop Video today. Taking a go today, see what things came out, see what things are on sale. I know today though the big release is The First Purge, and I believe Best Buy is going to have an exclusive 4K Steelbook of that one. And I believe they're also actually releasing all of the other Purge films and exclusive Steelbooks today as well, so definitely going to check those ones out. Also today, since it's the first Tuesday of the month, Walmart changes out the actual section and gets in a whole bunch of different new stuff like indie horror films, indie comedies, and a whole bunch of different things. So definitely look forward to seeing, what they changed out the section with. There's actually one horror movie too that I'm going to try and find. It looks like they should be in Walmart, so hopefully they put it out, but it's one I really am looking forward to seeing. Also, I put up 2 different videos this weekend. If you guys haven't seen it, I did an all horror update video, as well as a video updating, checking out some brand new FYE exclusive Steelbooks. And some of those ones are shared exclusives between Best Buy as well, but if you haven't seen those ones, definitely check that out. Also though, at the end of this video is going to be a whole bunch of new DVD and Blu-ray reviews, some things I received to review and talk about for you guys. But anyway though guys, let's get going and see what we can find today. Into Walmart we go. And I'm in Walmart first again today because I just came from Target and they didn't put out any of the new stuff yet, but fingers crossed that they put out all the new stuff because there should be a whole bunch of different stuff. And like I said, there's mainly one thing I really want to find, and it looks like this is the only place that's going to have it, so really hope they've got it out. Yeah, I don't see some of the things out in here, but it looks like the one main thing that I wanted is out. But one of the big things that came out today was Sicario Day of Soldado. I'm saying this one totally wrong though, but I have a review this one at the end of this video, and that one is $19.96 for that. And it looks like the 4K here is $29.96. I'm probably gonna go to another Walmart just to check as well, if they have more stuff. But then of course, like I said, First Purge, Nation Reborn, that one came out today, which I really like that one. I thought that was actually one of the better of the Purge films, and that was the prequel film, and they don't have out the other ones, but that's $19.99 for the Blu-ray of that. And also this show here starring Bill Hader came out here called Barry. So I have not seen this one. If you guys have seen this show, let me know how this one is. The one show I'm watching right now, which I really like, is that show Kidding with Jim Carrey. But like I said, some of the stuff here isn't out, but there's like a lot of different empty spots here, so I'm probably gonna head to another Walmart. Let's see though some of the new things here. I know this one came out today, this one, 3 Identical Strangers, so I don't know anything about this one. If you guys have seen this one, let me know how this one was. I believe this one here, 1,000 Yard Stare, I believe this one released today. I think The 12th Man was today. Battle of the Bulge, I think that was today. This one here, End of Fall, I don't know much about this one. I believe this released today, as well as Strange Nature, which I think I talked about this one last week or in this video. I can't remember for sure. Ultra Space released here, Space Force Battlefront here. This one released, but the big thing here that I really wanted, and luckily enough they have it out, and I cannot wait to see this, is Tales from the Hood 2. And I've seen some mixed things on this one online, review-wise and everything, but the original Tales from the Hood film is like one of my favorite, anthology films. I've loved that one ever since that one first released. I watched that one so many times. I don't know, I just can't not wait to see that one. It's really cheap too. It's only $12.96 here for the Blu-ray DVD combo, so that's a very good price for that. This one also came out today. This one here, Afraid, which I reviewed a week or so back. I like this. This is one of the better found footage one about this guy running out of cabin and to this couple, and he hid all these cameras everywhere in the entire cabin, all throughout it. It was kind of spying on them and watching them, and there have been other movies like that, but I felt like this was one of the better ones. This one was today, Sleep No More, this Tony Todd film, which I reviewed. I believe I reviewed this one in the horror update this past weekend, West of Hell, that released today, as well as Lake Fear 3, which I reviewed that one as well. Also the Scout Taylor Compton one here, Feral, that released today. This one is from Shout Factory. But like I said, since there's a lot of different empty spots here, gonna head to another Walmart just to see what else they have, if they have anything else different. And also in here too, there's supposed to be a Steelbook somewhere of Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I believe that was what it was. I always mix up the title of that, but I believe there was supposed to be a Steelbook somewhere in here, but I don't know where they'd actually put that. It was like a Walmart exclusive one. Yeah, but I ended up, like I said, getting the Tales from the Hood 2 in there, and luckily enough they had it out. I was kind of worried though they might have only had like the DVD version of this one, but we're gonna head now to another Walmart just to see some of the other stuff, because like I said, there's a lot of empty spots in that one. Into Target we go. Yeah, it's cool in here. They have in here this Pennywise, but I think it was put in here upside down. See, it's like this. This is definitely not put in. I don't think this was supposed to be upside down in there like that. But that is really, really cool. See this in person. I think it's $27.99, but they have all these other ones here as well, like Nightmare on Elm Street 2 one here, Friday the 13th, the final chapter, this Good Guy doll one here. Yeah, but that's definitely in there upside down. I do not know how that got put in there like that. Yeah, but I couldn't talk over the movies in there very well because they had copyrighted music playing. But, you know, they didn't have them out, but they are going to have in there The Purge. And they also had the one Leave No Trace, but they didn't have it put out. But if you guys have seen that one, though, let me know if that Leave No Trace movie was any good. They also had these exclusive, you know, editions of Twilight, which came with some kind of a phone stand thing. Kind of interesting. I don't know exactly how they put them in the case, but it looks like they were in there. You had these exclusive phone stand things for all of the Twilight movies. Other than that, though, didn't see anything else in there too different. Into the second Walmart we go. Yeah, in here though, they changed this all around, so it's like really different. Like the only thing different I see in here is a movie with Orlando Bloom called Smart Chase. But like the actual sections are really different in here now, and I don't see like where they put in like the more like, you know, the indie horror and all that kind of stuff like I showed in the last Walmart. I don't see in here where that section is anymore. Like I don't even know if they have that anymore, because it's like, seems like it's like just the movies like right here, and other than that I'm not seeing any other ones, so it doesn't look like they even have them. Yeah, but I can't get a handle on this new one. Like, I'm definitely not going to come to this location anymore because they've cut down the sections and don't have any of the different stuff that came out. And I was looking online, it says they have Tales from the Hood in here, but I couldn't find it anywhere in there. And this past weekend I saw a couple different films. The first one I saw was Hellfest, and that one was basically about a group of friends who were going to this haunted attraction where it's like all these different haunted houses. But one guy ends up going into this haunted house. He ends up, you know, coming in, and he puts on his own mask, and it's basically him stalking these people and basically stalking the one girl. And he's kind of like going around in every maze, and, you know, throughout the night he's like killing people off and stuff. It's a really, really crazy thing, and it is a creepy concept too, that there could actually be someone that goes into one of these haunted attractions and then is like, you know, stalking people and killing them. I don't know, I thought it was a cool like throwback slasher film. The other one I saw was Lizzie, which is the new film about Lizzie Borden, which stars, you know, Chloe Sevigny and Kristen Stewart. You know, there's been a whole bunch of different films on Lizzie Borden and like TV things over the last couple of years. You know, there's the original one in the 70s, and then there was the one, you know, recently with Christina Ricci, and then that turned into a TV series as well. And this is basically, though, you know, done as an R-rated story, and it was also dealing with, you know, Chloe Sevigny's relationship with Kristen Stewart. They didn't really talk about that in the other ones too much, as far as I can remember, but it was definitely more of a violent one than some of the other ones, and it was really, really well shot and everything. It wasn't like absolutely amazing or anything, but I feel like it definitely was probably the best of all the stories on Lizzie Borden, at least that I've seen. And then the other one that I saw was the new Kevin Hart film. It was Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish, and that's, you know, Night School, and that's his character. He's like never actually graduated from high school because he didn't feel like he needed to, and like he never did well in school. And he ended up, you know, doing okay, and he had this really high paying job where he was, you know, really going up the ladder at this barbecue place, you know, selling barbecues and grills, and he was going to, you know, end up inheriting the place, but something ends up happening and he ends up losing that job, so he has to go back to night school to get his GED because his friend would give him this job working as a, you know, financial analyst and saying, you know, you can do this job and I'm going to really, you know, let you work here, you know, because he owns this company, but you actually have to have a GED to do this, so it's him having to go back to school, and he doesn't want to tell his girlfriend about the fact he never graduated, and it's kind of him, you know, having all kinds of problems with Tiffany Haddish's character in school and all kinds of wacky stuff. It wasn't perfect or anything, but there really was some really funny stuff in it. The funniest character was the guy who was, you know, in the Fertile Virgin, and he was one of the students in this, and like he had some really funny lines, and his stuff was some of the best in the movie. But if you guys saw either of those films this past weekend, you know, let me know what you guys thought of them, or let me know what you guys, you know, saw this weekend if you guys got to see anything. Into Best Buy we go. But over here, though, some of the new things, they don't have it right here, but in the front of the store, they had the Sicario Steelbook, the exclusive Steelbook. And they have some of these here, the Purge ones, the first Purge. This is the first Purge, you know, the prequel film, the brand new one, exclusive Steelbook. But in the actual front of the store, they had exclusive Steelbooks for all of the other Purge films as well. Also, this one came out today, Leave No Trace. With if you guys have seen this one though, let me know if this one's worth checking out. Like, I didn't hear too much about this. This one I really liked, Bloodfest. This is only $12.99. This was a really cool movie. Really liked this one a lot. If you guys saw this one as well, let me know what you thought. But I don't know, I thought that was a really fun movie. This one, The 12th Man, was released today. But other than that though, I'm not seeing anything else in here too different. I think these might have released today, these new editions here of MASH and Mary Tyler Moore Show, like these collections together. But I don't see in here any of those Steelbooks that were supposed to be the shared exclusives between, you know, FYE as well as Best Buy, because Best Buy had some of them. But I'm not seeing any of those ones over here. I feel like they'd be around in this area. I'll keep looking in here, but I'm not seeing any of those exclusive ones in here today, though, as far as I can tell. But they do have this in here, and this is a really good price for that. This is, you know, the It's Alive trilogy for $29.99, so that's actually pretty cool to see this one in store, though. And they actually have in here this Halloween favorite section, which I think they just put out in here. And they have all these ones with, you know, glow-in-the-dark slipcovers, like Alvin and the Chipmunks Meet Frankenstein, Dressed to Kill here, Both the Hills Have Eyes, you know, remake film for $7.88. That's not a bad price for these. Nightmare Before Christmas Steelbook. Yeah, some more of the glow-in-the-dark ones. So those are pretty cool here. They have a section. Like I said, I think they just put this one together. So anyway though guys, that's all for this DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video today. Like I always say, if you guys enjoy these shopping videos, definitely give this video a thumbs up. Also let me know what you guys picked up today, if you guys picked up anything. And also let me know too what you guys thought of the titles I'm going to be reviewing at this end of this video, you know, what you guys thought of them. Anyway though guys, now stay tuned for a bunch of new DVD and Blu-ray reviews. And the first one I got here is from Shot Factory's Scream Factory line. It's a movie here called The Bride, which stars Sting. Clancy Brown is in this movie. I always think of him from, you know, of course, Carnival, which is a really great show I always loved. And, you know, the voice of Mr. Krabs on SpongeBob SquarePants. But he's been in tons and tons of stuff. Pet Sematary 2, lots of different things. Also, Jennifer Beals is in this movie. This is basically, though, a different take on the whole Frankenstein story. It's about, you know, Frankenstein, played by Sting, who ends up... you know, he already had created his monster, who, you know, Clancy Brown's character plays, but now he's trying to bring, you know, the bride of Frankenstein to life. And he's bringing back Jennifer Beals' character to life. And it's sort of about, though, like a different take, like I said, because it's about Frankenstein's monster's character kind of going off on his own and kind of doing his own thing in life. And, like, he goes with this circus and doing all these kind of things. But then also the woman that he brings back, you know, Frankenstein, played by Sting, like I said, brings back this woman to life. And, you know, she has no memory. And he's kind of, like, trying to teach her things and everything. And people are kind of wondering, too, where did she come from and everything, because they don't know the things that he's been up to and everything. Like I said, it's actually a really interesting, different take. I always liked, too, Sting as an actor. I always thought he did a really good job in the movies that he has done. He did a really good job in this movie. This has on here, though, new interview on here with actor Clancy Brown. He has an interview on here with the director, as well as a commentary track on this one as well. But a really interesting movie. If you guys have seen this one, though, let me know what you thought. You know, picture quality as well looks really good. The next one here is a movie from Shot Factory's Shout Select line. And this is The Man in the Iron Mask, which stars, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio's in this movie, Jeremy Irons, John Malkovich, Gabriel Byrne. I always say his name wrong, but I always think of him, you know, most recently from Hereditary, but always like one of my favorite movies as a kid, Shipwrecked, which I always hope someday comes to Blu-ray, but that's one of the things I always think of him from. And this is basically, though, also, too, it's got a brand new 4K scan. I have to say the picture on this is amazing. It's like got a super like a super saturated color to this movie, which is like really beautiful look to this whole movie, though they did an amazing job, you know, cleaning this one up. But this is basically, though, about Leonardo DiCaprio's character, who is this king, and he's like kind of like a really young king, and it's based on, I'm not sure which, yeah, he's King Louis, I don't know which number, though, it is, but he was basically, though, one of the youngest kings, I'm pretty sure. And it's kind of about he's not really doing a great job, and he's kind of like people in the village around and everything are not really liking him. They're like starving, they're not getting food. There's all sorts of problems, and the musketeers who are kind of there to kind of protect him, they all kind of come up with this plan of trying to get rid of him and then, you know, replacing him. And it's like kind of this whole thing about what they're doing, and, you know, like it deals with the man in the iron mask, and it kind of cuts to this prisoner in jail wearing this iron mask, and you're kind of like, well, how does this play in? And like, and then you find out what they're doing and what they're planning to do and everything. But I don't know, this is actually a kind of an interesting movie. I feel like I might have seen this one when this first came out back in 1998, but I'm not 100% certain. I do remember always seeing, like, you know, back in the days of Blockbuster, I always remember seeing like the VHS, this one on the shelf, but I can't say for sure though if I ever watched this one. I feel like maybe I did. I don't know. This is also like I think this came out after Titanic, like a year or so after. So it was right when Leonardo DiCaprio was like really getting big at this point. This has on here though, like I said, the brand new 4K scan of the movie. It has on here an interview with the producer, interview on here, a brand new interview with the production designer, a commentary track on here with director Randall Wallace, some featurettes on the movie, behind the scenes footage. The next one here from Shout Factory, as well as a movie called Izzy Gets the F Across Town. And this movie stars Mackenzie Davis, who, you know, was most recently in Tully. She was also in, like, I believe it was The Awkward Moment. She's been in a bunch of different stuff recently. Always been a fan of her, though. And this is basically, though, about her character. You know, she, like, wakes up in bed with this guy, and she doesn't really remember what had happened. And she's wearing kind of her catering job clothes, which are like covered in like stains and spills and everything, and you kind of find out what's going on with that. But she can remember that, but she doesn't remember how she got with this guy or anything. But she finds out though that her ex-boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend is getting married to you know, he basically is having this big engagement party, and you know, she finds out she knew nothing about this, but this is a guy that she's never been over. She's always kind of been thinking about him and kind of bothered the fact that they, you know, things didn't work out. But when she finds out about this, you know, engagement party that she was not invited to or anything, she's like, I have to get there. And it's kind of her going through all the kind of problems trying to make it to this engagement party in time, because she kind of plans on hoping to get there and kind of crashing it and then making him decide not to, you know, marry this woman and come back with her and everything. So it's essentially, though, her running into one problem to another throughout this movie. Like, you know, she tries to get her car, you know, and Brandon T. Jackson's character is working on the car, and he's like messing around and never getting it done. She goes to him, the car isn't working, then she ends up taking a bike, and then like she ends up getting a car with somebody else, and it kind of like throughout the movie it's like all sorts of every kind of problem you can imagine. But also along the way though, it's like kind of her dealing with her problems as well. I actually really like this movie. I thought this was really well done. There's a whole lot of people that pop up in this movie, you know, cameos and stuff like that, and small parts and everything, but I really thought this was a well done movie. And I like these kind of movies when it's like problems and you're trying to get to a destination in a certain amount of time, but you run into every kind of problem you can imagine along the way. This has on here though a commentary track on here with the writer and director on here. It has behind the scenes documentary, deleted and alternate scenes on here, as well as a theatrical trailer on this. The next one here is from Shout Factory as well. This is a movie kind of like in the style of something like Step Up and those type of kind of dance films. And it's a movie here called All Styles. It's about this kid who was, you know, really like a good dancer and everything. And, you know, in high school, that was like what he did. But, you know, his parents and everything were really not into it. They were always kind of giving him problems with that and wanting him to, you know, study more in school and really like put all of his efforts into things like that. And he was always kind of into dance, but he also had like disagreements though with the dance, you know, group that he was with, and they kind of kicked him out. And he hasn't really gotten over all of that. And so he's kind of like now at the point where he's getting ready to go to college. He gets to college, and the father and the parents are everything like, okay, you're gonna really like study now in school, you're not going to screw up, you're going to put all your efforts into this. But then he gets there, and it's kind of like all he can think about is dancing again, and it's kind of him trying to put together a new crew, and he's kind of going in different outlets and finding people from different kind of backgrounds of dance and things like that that maybe wouldn't be people you would think of normally who would be doing the kind of dancing that he's doing. It's kind of him trying to put together this group, and it deals though with his parents though, you know, saying to him, why are you doing this, and like, why, we've told you to stop with this, this, and you're supposed to be studying in your school, and it's kind of about, like, the basis is about doing what you really like and everything, and it's kind of him going through what he really wants to do, but at the same time dealing with his parents giving him all sorts of problems about this and his family and everything, you know, but he's really just trying to do what he really wants. This has on here, though, some dance battle outtakes on here. It has behind-the-scenes features on here, as well with, you know, interviews with the cast and crew on this one, as well as a trailer on this. The next one here is from Lionsgate, and this is one of the movies released under the A24 line. And this is a movie here called 8th Grade, which I love this movie. I saw this one in theaters as well. And, you know, I'm somebody, too, who, you know, in middle school, like, those were probably, like, my least favorite years ever. And I feel like most people really didn't love middle school, at least for me. I can relate to this movie and not loving middle school. Of course, though, this movie now, they're dealing with, like, cell phones and texting and all the problems on the internet and everything. At the time when I was doing that, there was not any of that. There really wasn't any of that at all. I don't even think, like, I got a cell phone until, like, the 10th grade, something like that. But essentially, though, this movie, though, is about this girl who's kind of like one in school who is kind of like the loner. She doesn't really have a lot of friends. She doesn't really with the popular crowd or anything. But she does online to kind of try and talk about her problems and everything. She does video blogs, kind of trying to, you know, just kind of talk about her problems and the things that are going on in school and how she's trying to figure out how to become popular. And that's like her goal, is to kind of become the popular kid in school or try and become more outgoing and go to more events and do more things and start to get more friends and everything. But it's on the basis of her having, like, kind of a weird relationship with her father, where they're not really talking about things, and she doesn't really want to talk to him about her problems and why she's having all these things going on with the bullies in school and the problems and everything. And essentially, though, it's just kind of like her, you know, going through all the kind of things that are going on in 8th grade and getting ready to go to high school, and kind of like dating and all that kind of stuff that's going on around it. And as well as, like, the basis, though, is her doing the vlogs, talking about, like, what her big goals are and what she wants to try and do, wants to try and accomplish throughout this year of trying to, like I said, be more outgoing and everything. I thought this movie was so well done. The main actress did an amazing job in this. Like I said, it really, really did feel like the kind of stuff that goes on in middle school, except, like, now, like I said, of course, it deals with all the cell phones and the social media and all that kind of stuff that I wasn't dealing with it at the time. This has on here, though, commentary track on here with Byrne, who's the director on here, as well as the actress, you know, the main lead in the film. She has a commentary on here with him as well. This has deleted scenes as well as a music video on this one. But if you guys have not seen this one, highly recommend you guys check this out. Really, really well done movie. And the next one here is from Lionsgate as well, and this is also an A24 title. This is a movie here called A Prayer Before Dawn. This is a true story. It's about an English boxer who is in Thailand, and he basically, you know, became addicted to drugs and was, you know, ended up getting arrested. And he got put into these, you know, extremely violent Thai prisons in the prison system. And, you know, the thing that was interesting, though, too, was they actually had real prisoners acting this movie, and people who were prisoners in the past, and they actually filmed in real prisons and everything. So it has an extremely authentic feel. Like, that's what really adds to this movie, is the backdrop of the authenticity to this that really, really feels... Because, like, you know, sometimes when they do movies like this, you know, they wouldn't actually do where they would shoot in the real prisons, and they would have real prisoners and everything, and that really adds to this movie so much. And but though in this prison, though, it's an extremely violent prison. He's witnessing all these horrible things that's happening. It's essentially him trying to survive in this prison. He's also the only white guy in this prison as well, so it's kind of all this kind of stuff that he's going through. But in this prison, they have a boxing program, which is a prison boxing system, you know, in this prison. And he ends up getting taken into that. And it's essentially about him training and trying to, you know, get better and better and better in this system. And he's also dealing with, like, the things of his past and everything. Like I said, an extremely authentic, really, really well-made character piece here. Definitely would recommend you guys check this one out. It has some featurettes, though, on the movie as well. The next one is from Lionsgate as well. And this is a movie that aired on, I believe it was on Lifetime. And it's called Her Stolen Past. And this is basically, though, about this girl whose mother ended up getting killed because this guy was trying to rob her, and then she ended up was like kind of struggling and ended up getting killed. And it's kind of a weird situation about how she was killed, because like she was in this building really late at night, and like the police can't figure out exactly why this robber would have been there, because there was nobody in this place but her, really. And it's kind of like there wasn't like video of this. The whole thing seemed really strange. And the girl, though, her daughter, was kind of going through the house, trying to get rid of things. You know, she has to sell the house because she can't afford to pay for the mortgage and everything on it. So she's kind of going through everything, putting things in boxes, going through stuff, finding out what she's going to keep and get rid of. But she ends up finding this really expensive bag. And inside of the bag, though, is this birth certificate of this girl. And it's basically, though, she becomes like really, you know, interested in what is this birth certificate doing in there, and then she starts looking into it and finding out though that this was a girl that, you know, had gone missing, and you know, she was in the same church that the mother was in, and it was kind of a big thing, and it's kind of about her working with this guy trying to figure out exactly who this girl was, and if like this girl could have had any type of connection, this missing girl who was on the birth certificate could have any connection to why the mother was killed, or what exactly was going on there. Because throughout this movie too, you kind of see someone like sitting in a car watching the house and everything, so you're like, well, something is going on here. But this was actually a pretty interesting movie, and I believe I saw this one was actually, yeah, this was based on a book as well. The next one here is from Universal, and it's a movie here starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Skyscraper. And I saw this movie as well in theaters. This is a really fun, crazy movie about, you know, The Rock goes to I don't remember what country he goes to, but he goes to kind of analyze this like huge skyscraper building, like the security systems, and like he's kind of used to be in, like, I think it was like the special forces or FBI or something like that, and something ended up happening with him, and he ended up having to leave. So now he's taken this other job doing, you know, security and kind of just sort of checking things and checking out buildings to see like the security codes will look like they're safe, and if it looks like they've got like everything, the infrastructures and everything figured out all right. So he goes to this, you know, super advanced building, high-rise building that has like gonna have all these apartments in it and like stores and malls and all kinds of stuff. But of course, though, you know, his family comes with him, and they're like staying in the building as well, you know, why he's going to these meetings and everything. But of course, though, these bad guys end up like starting this insane fire in this building, and you're kind of trying to figure out what exactly these guys are doing in here. But it turns out, though, the family, you know, the Rock's character's family, are stuck in this building, and, you know, the fire is like below them, so they can't get down, and he doesn't know what he's going to do. So it's kind of him trying to figure out how he's going to get in there and get into this building and rescue his family. Also try and figure out what's going on above. And it's a crazy movie. It's kind of got like a Towering Inferno mixed with Die Hard kind of feel to the movie. I don't know. I always liked The Rock, and I thought this, like I said, just like an absolutely intense movie. Neve Campbell is also in this movie as well, playing The Rock's wife. This has on here a whole bunch of different features. It has deleted and extended scenes with the director on here with commentaries on them. It has some featurettes on the movie. It has on here a commentary track as well on the film. The next one here is the latest Death Race film. This is from Universal as well. This is Death Race Beyond Anarchy, and this is the unrated edition of the film. I think I saw that this is, like, I believe the 5th film in the series. I might be totally wrong. I know, though, the last one they did was Death Race 2000, I think it was, which was kind of an unrelated movie, which was like a remake of the Death Race film from Death Race 2000 from years and years back. And this is now, though, the Death Race basically was like a system where prisoners who were in prison would basically go and kind of like fight to the death and these like racing these crazy cars and everything. But recently, though, the death race system in this kind of enclosed prison system where all the bad people are all put and everything has become illegal. So now you cannot participate in this death race, and they were, you know, originally broadcasting it on, everybody was watching on TV and everything. I did not see every single one of the past ones of these movies, though, I will say, though. But you know, they were broadcasting on the TV and everything. But now, though, since they become illegal, they're broadcasting the death race, you know, and they're still doing this in this prison community thing that's all walled off illegally, and it's beginning broadcast on the dark web. And essentially, though, the government's trying to stop this, and they're going in there trying to stop the guys. And there's one, like, bad guy who's, like, the head of the whole thing, and they think that they can kind of take him out, then they can finally get rid of the death race, you know, and all this happening. But they end up sending in a guy to try and stop him, and it's kind of like the whole thing, and it's, like, all kind of crazy race stuff. If you guys know these films, though, there are insane car scenes and insane stuff, the way people are getting killed by the cars, and crazy stuff. They're really crazy, over-the-top movies. This has on here, though, a bunch of different featurettes on here. It has on here some featurettes, you know, making of kind of stuff like that. A commentary track on here with the writer and director on this one. The next one here is from Sony, and this is a movie, stars Benicio del Toro and Josh Brolin. This is Sicario Day of Soldado. I might be saying that one wrong. I actually never saw the first film. I remember hearing, though, how really good it was, so I really, really do need to watch that one. I will say, though, I don't feel like you would not be able to watch this one and understand it. I mean, there's some stuff I feel like you probably don't, not for me not seeing the first one, but I feel like you could probably watch this one, though, without seeing it and still kind of understand what's going on. But essentially, though, there is what's going on is in the Mexican border, they're actually allowing like terrorists to come over through the Mexican border, and they're coming over and like setting off bombs and all kinds of stuff that is going on. And it's about Josh Brolin's character, who is trying to go and along with Benicio del Toro's character, and kind of stop this from happening. And it's kind of them trying to go over to Mexico and start like these wars and arguments and disagreements and everything, and kind of stir things up to try and like put a stop to, and also figure out exactly how these terrorists are kind of coming over and kind of trying to stop the whole thing. But it is an absolutely intense film. This has on here, though, from film to franchise, continuing the story, some other featurettes on here with a cast and crew on this one. But a pretty interesting one. Like I said, I don't feel like you would not be able to understand it if you hadn't seen the first one. The next one here is from Sony, and I'll have a link where you guys can order this one for the best price for the next couple ones here. But this is one of my favorite movies ever. I've watched this movie so many times, and this is Welcome to the Dollhouse. It stars Brendan Sexton III, Heather Matarazano, of course Todd Sondes directed this movie, who also did Happiness and lots of movies. Always love his movies. They're not for everybody, though, but I feel like this is probably, I think, his most known movie that he's ever done. And this is basically, though, about Heather Matarazano's character, who plays Dawn Wienerdog, and it's basically, though, or Dawn Wiener, but everybody calls her Dawn Wienerdog, and it's kind of her in school, and she's like picked on and given all kinds of problems. And Brendan Sexton III's character is this bully who is always taunting her and giving her every kind of problem in the books. This girl, though, is picked on so horribly in this school and with so many problems. But her brother, though, and I love the brother character because he's this real super geeky guy, but he's got this friend that she really likes, and because they're in this like band together, and then she becomes like obsessed with him. But essentially, though, it's just all about her in school and all of her kind of problems, and then her falling in love with the brother's friend who's in the band. And it's also kind of sad too, some of the stuff that's going on, because it's sad, all the stuff that she goes through in school and all the bullying and everything. But if you guys have never seen this one, check out the trailer for this one. So glad this one is on Blu-ray. This is like one of my all-time favorite movies. I watched this one when I was like in middle school, and like I was kind of like, what was going on with me, some of this kind of stuff, the bullying and all that kind of stuff. So another one I can relate to. Another one, if you guys have seen this one, let me know your thoughts on it. And the next one here is from Sony as well, and this is a movie here starring James Belushi and Louis Gossett Jr. called The Principal. And this is a movie about James Belushi's character, who becomes the principal in this school, which is a very, very there's kind of violent stuff going on. The kids are kind of run wild. This is one of those movies, they've done a lot of kind of movies like this. The one with Samuel L. Jackson, and a lot of the ones that are all about dealing with like a violent school and all the kind of problems and stuff going on at the school. This is essentially, though, James Belushi's character, kind of trying to take charge of the school and kind of trying to help fix it and try and get things kind of figured out there and, kind of control it. I feel like I saw this one years and years back. This is actually a pretty cool movie. Like I said, there was a lot of different movies around this time with similar types of feels, and then other ones came later, like Dangerous Grounds and those sort of vibe type films. But I always loved James Belushi. He was also in a movie a couple years after this too, with Tupac that I really liked as well. But I've always been a fan of him, but definitely one I would say to check out for sure. Now, the next one here is from the Warner Archive, and this is a movie that I've talked about for years, if you guys have seen in my videos, and, in the past and everything. It's one of my all-time favorite movies ever, and, I'm so excited this one is finally on Blu-ray. Hopefully more TV movies in the past start to come out to Blu-ray. And this is a movie here called Bad Ronald, which gets absolutely a top recommendation. You guys have got to buy this movie. I love this movie so much. And this is basically, though, you know, like I said, this is a 70s TV movie, but probably one of the best TV movies, next to another one that I love called Crawl Space. Not the Klaus Kinski one, but the other one, Crawl Space, which was filmed around the same time as this. And I actually think the director worked on that a little bit as well. It's just essentially, though, about this kid named Ronald who ends up accidentally killing this girl that he gets in like a fight with in the beginning of this movie. And like he panics and tells his mother about the whole thing. And the mother's like, oh, I don't know what we're going to do. And you're going to go to prison. And she's like, and he doesn't want to, you know, have to deal with all this because he knows he's going to get put away for this because he was in the wrong what he did, and there's no way he can cover this up. So the mother and him come up with the idea, mainly the mother, saying, well, we can hide you. So they end up walling off the bathroom and then like making it like the bathroom was never there, and finding this like secret way to building this kind of door to kind of, so he, you know, Ronald's character can go into this door and hide himself in the wall. So like the police are coming by, and you know Ronald's like hiding in the walls, like trying to be really quiet, and they're eating like chips and stuff like that. And it's like him hiding, and like, but the thing is though, it's going all right, but then something really bad happens, and then everything becomes screwed up, and the whole plan becomes a disaster. And that's all I really want to say. It's one of those movies you guys have got to watch. The music in this is amazing. Now, I got to say too, the transfer, I wasn't sure how this was going to look, because I was wondering, you know, since it was a TV movie, like how the print was going to look and everything. The print is amazing. They found, luckily enough, I guess, they had the actual original negative to this. Because sometimes, you know, if a movie was edited for TV, you know, a TV film, sometimes the original negatives don't always exist if they edited on, you know, videotape or like beta and that kind of stuff, so they wouldn't have the actual master, but they do, and it looks amazing. Like, it looks so good. I was so glad that they were, you know, able to clean this movie up as good as they did, and it looks great. The, you know, picture is amazing in this, you know, great sound and everything. Definitely must watch. The next one here is from Paramount. This is a movie which stars Paul Rudd and Mark Strong. Jeff Daniels is in here. Guy Pearce, and this is one is The Catcher Was a Spy. This is based on a true story, and it's a different movie for Paul Rudd because it's like he's playing like a real serious kind of role in this. And he's a character. His character was a baseball player. This is set during the war, you know, in I believe it was 1944 around the time, and his character in this, you know, was a baseball player, but he had like a lot of abilities and was super intelligent and everything, and he ends up, you know, like becoming a spy, and it's sort of about him. They're planning on him. He has to try and like kill a certain person, and it's sort of like him going through the training and everything, but he's like, but you know, that's baseball and everything was what he really liked, and throughout this movie he's kind of like not sure how he fell into this and how this is like what he's going to have to do. So it's kind of him struggling with all that kind of stuff, but a really well done character piece here. Like I said, definitely really different too to see Paul Rudd in like a more of a serious type role like this, and I thought he did a really good job in this. The next one here is from Viva Pictures, and it's a movie here called Monster Family. It's a really fun movie. It's definitely more for kids, but it was very fun. And it's basically, though, about these family who are going to a costume party. The mom, you know, makes them all dress up like the mummy, the werewolf, you know, and then Frankenstein. But at the beginning of this movie, she's trying to call around, trying to find vampire fangs, but she accidentally calls Dracula himself, and she thinks that it's like the costume party store, but it ends up being Dracula. And Dracula, you know, finally gets a call because he's like kind of on his own there. And he's like no friends or anything, but when he gets his call, he like is like, oh, I've got to meet this woman. And he has this like witch that he has imprisoned, and he ends up like letting her go and saying, you'll be free, but if you have to help me turn this woman that I've met on the phone and now I've fallen in love with, you have to turn her into a vampire, because I don't want to bite her. I want her to just be a vampire and love me and stuff like me because I'm a vampire as well and stuff. But you know, he didn't know though that she had a family or anything. But what ends up happening is this witch, who is like kind of all bumbly and foolish, she ends up accidentally turning the whole family into monsters, and they're all trying to figure out exactly how they're going to turn back and everything. Like I said, it's a really wacky, fun family film here. And the next ones here are all from Umbrella Entertainment. These are Australian releases, and these ones are all region releases, so these ones have no region code locking or anything like that. You guys can watch these ones on US Blu-ray players. You don't have to have a region-free play or anything like that to watch them. Now, the first one here is a movie from 1992. It's a TV film about John Wayne Gacy called called To Catch a Killer, which stars Brian Dennehy. And I actually think this is the first movie that they ever did on Gacy, because, you know, then there was the one in like 2003 or 4, around that time, I think, you know, with the actor who played Francis in Pee-wee's Big Adventure playing Gacy. I really like that one. And then there was the one with the guy talking to Gacy on the phone, and Gacy was kind of telling his story. That one was with William Forsythe, and that was like 2009 maybe. But I think this is the first one, I believe, and I think there's only been like 3. Let me know if there's been any other films on Gacy. But this is basically, though, like I said, Brian Dennehy is playing Gacy. This was a TV film. So it's about 3 hours long or so, and this is about a cop who was investigating this kid who had gone missing, and the kid was said to have been last talking to Gacy, because Gacy was a construction worker who had this construction company, and this kid was supposed to go outside and talk to him, because Gacy said he was going to pay him all this money to do this job for him, and that was like the last person that was said to have seen him. But of course Gacy's like, I didn't know this kid, I didn't talk to this kid, but the cop, though, starts to think that there's something is weird going on. That kind of starts the investigation of kind of looking into Gacy, looking into his past, and also trying to figure out where this kid is. And it was, you know, this is really well done, and Brian Dennehy did a really, really good job as Gacy in this, but a really, really interesting movie here. The next one here is from Umbrella Entertainment as well. This is a movie from Alex Proyas, you know, who directed The Crow, Dark City, you know, the film Knowing. This is a movie called Spirits of the Air, Gremlins of the Clouds, and this is a really interesting art film here. It has a great transfer on here. It's a brand new 2K scan transfer of this movie. This is basically, though, set out like in the middle of the desert. It's this guy who's kind of drifting and walking through the desert, and ends up coming to this little shack house out there, and it's like this brother and sister who are living out there, and the sister's kind of crazy acting. The brother is in a wheelchair and kind of weird as well. Both of them are very odd. Everybody's kind of odd in this movie, but it's basically, though, he ends up kind of meeting them, and he starts staying at their house, and he's kind of talking about how he's trying to get over these mountains, and they're like, there's no way you can climb over those mountains unless you can fly, and can you fly? And this brother, though, is obsessed with the idea of flying, and he's like making these little airplanes and stuff, and essentially, though, he wants to try and work with the brother who's obsessed with the wheel, you know, who's in the wheelchair, obsessed with planes, and kind of figure out if they can find a way to fly and actually make an airplane and everything. It's a really, really trippy out there movie with really, really cool music. Like I said, really amazing cinematography in this movie, but like a really cool film. This has on, like I said, the 2K master transfer in here. It has a commentary track on here with the director, commentary on here with the composer, as well as the editor, interview with cast members on here. It has a making of featurette, music video, image gallery on this one. The next one is from Umbrella Entertainment as well. Like I said, this one's region free as well. So this is a movie starring Martin Freeman, which is like a post-apocalyptic kind of virus type film. Some type of virus has happened to people in the world, and a lot of people have died, and it's him and his wife and his newborn child trying to survive, and they're living out in this houseboat, but they're kind of running out of supplies. They also don't even really know how to, you know, to sail. They kind of ran off and are, you know, surviving as best they can. And what ends up happening, though, is something ends up happening. They end up having to leave the boat, trying to look for more supplies, because they're really running low on everything. But then they get into an accident, and, you know, something happens to his wife, and then something happens to him, and it's a kind of essentially, it's about him trying to figure out what he's going to do about his child because of this virus. And it's a really, really, you know, kind of sad film as well, but a really great character piece about this, and really great backdrop and everything, really well acted, but really, really pretty cool movie here. This has on here, though, a making of featurette on here. It has a short film on here. It has a Q&A from the 2014 Melbourne GPO. Interviews on here with cast and crew on this one. The next one here is from Dark Sky Films. It's a movie here called The Witch Files. This is from director Kyle Rankin, who directed Night of the Living Deb as well. And if you guys saw Night of the Living Dead, Night of the Living Deb, I actually had a little teeny part in that, because there's a one scene where there's like people on the news and stuff, and like reacting to something, and I'm on there reacting to something. So that's kind of cool. If you guys have never seen that movie, it's on Netflix and stuff, but it's called Night of the Living Deb. But this is his new film here called The Witch Files, and this is done found footage style, because it's basically about this girl who is doing a kind of filming for the school news kind of program that she has, and she's doing a story. Originally starts out about like kind of talking to these girls who are in detention, and these people that are in detention, and like how they got there and everything. But then she ends up talking to this one girl who is a witch, and talking about how she's a witch, and she shows how she has this kind of power and can make like the school alarm go off, like the fire alarm go off, so they all go outside and everything. But then these girls kind of become become interested in this. Same with the girl who's filming the footage for the school, and that's why it's all done found footage with her filming everything. And of course, they go out there and start messing around with spells and stuff. And of course, you know, it leads into what's happening and everything. And it's got kind of like it says on here too, like a mix of kind of like Charmed mixed with the Craft and that kind of stuff. So kind of like the Craft done found footage a little bit with what's going on and kind of the things that they start to do with the spells and everything. But actually, really pretty interesting movie. And I like how it's like very different too, because I can't really think of like a witchcraft type film like this done, you know, in a found footage style. This has on here though a commentary track on here with the director, behind the scenes, and a trailer on this one. The next one here is from Troma, and I love this one. This was a really fun movie. This movie I think was made in like 2008, but it's finally, I think it was finished in 2010, but finally got a release. And it's a real quick watch. It's only like 60 minutes, and I really love this. And the intro is great because it's like them all like spitting up blood and everything. I love the Troma intros. Those are some of my favorite things ever with Lloyd and everything. There's a movie here called Slimed. And this was such a fun movie, though. And it's basically, though, about this guy who is a forest ranger, and the IRS is getting ready to take away the land because they can't pay the bills and anything, and things have all fallen apart. But he ends up, like, this Bible salesman comes by and, like, says to him, well, he hates, like, religion, the Bible and everything, but then, like, he ends up, like, all this kind of stuff happens, but the Bible salesman says, well, if you build, like, a nature building, then people will come here, and you'll be able to pay the money off and everything to the IRS, and you can keep the land and stay here. But, of course, though, they go out there in the middle of, you know, this area to try and look at the land, and it's, like, an area that was kind of cursed and everything, but when they get out there, they see this weird guy that's, like, spitting up blood, and they go through this door, and it's, like, it's a really trippy movie because it's like deals with this like talking rat that's like created this weird substance of this slime stuff, this chemical that says it's good for you for cleaning and everything, that's making everybody die and their bones and like skin fall off and everything. And it's just a really crazy movie about like this slime and like these evil kids and everything. It is like a really, really wacky religious, like goofy movie with all this weird religious stuff in it. I don't know, I really love this one. It has on here like a bunch of different features. It has like deleted scenes, bloopers, alternate takes, commentary tracks on this one. But definitely check this out here. The next one here is from Troma as well, and this one here called The Nobodies. And this is actually put on DVD for a reason, because it's actually supposed to be like a kind of like a lost found footage type movie. And this is sort of like a found footage documentary. And the movie they're talking about, this was actually shot on VHS. And this is a movie, this is kind of this horror movie that was made on VHS, but the people behind it ended up dying. They ended up killing themselves, but then a group of people found out about this, and they ended up wanting to make a documentary on this movie about what ended up happening, and then things ended up happening to them. And it's kind of like a mix of, you know, cutting together parts of this documentary, talking to some of the actors involved in this like shot on video movie where the directors died, and then also cutting in footage from the actual movie which they filmed. And it really seems like a real like VHS type movie. They did a really good job making it seem really VHS, but it's all kind of like that thing going on, kind of like between the two of them. This one has on here too an introduction with Lloyd Kaufman, has deleted scenes, commentary track on this one as well. This one here is from a company called Fry's Entertainment Group, and this is a movie here called Star Chaser: The Legend of Orion, and a really cool lenticular cover on this one. And this is one, I don't know if I ever saw this one in the past, but I was looking up the director, because this movie was kind of reminding me, like the animation and the look, a little bit of the Chipmunk Adventure movie, and I'm like, it kind of has that similar look. It's a beautiful look though. Like the animation is really great animation in this, especially like kind of reminding me also of Captain EO a little bit with the music and stuff. Also, like some of the people who were behind this worked on like heavy metal and that kind of stuff, so it's all in that style, and like with like He-Man, Master of the Universe kind of vibe a little bit as well. But this is like in the future, and all the humans are like underground, stuck like digging for diamonds and things like that, and like the robots are like whipping them, and it's like, it's kind of like the robots have taken over, and the robots like looked a lot, and I even read, looked like the Battlestar Galactica robot. But essentially, though, they're all down there trapped and getting, you know, that's all their life is digging things out and everything. But the one character, you know, Oren, ends up finding this this sword, and then it's like sword, but the blade ends up missing when he grabs it. It's essentially about him trying to find this missing blade and like getting away from these people and going up, you know, above the world and finding where people really are and like what had happened to everybody. But it is a really fun adventure movie. Another one, like I said, I don't know if I ever saw this one as a kid, but looks really good on Blu-ray. Definitely would recommend you guys check this one out. The last one here, just want to let you guys know that this one is available from Film Movement, along with Something Weird was behind this one as well. And this is the newest collection of Joseph W. Serrano series here. This is the 4th volume of his films that have been released. This one has on here 3 different movies. This has on here Confessions of a Young American Housewife, Sin in the Suburbs, Warm Nights and Hot Pleasures, and it has on here a bunch of different features on here. It has like commentary tracks on these ones, as well as some mini commentaries and deleted scenes as well on these. But like I said, just want you guys to know that this one was available. Anyway though, guys, thanks so much for watching, subscribing, and I'll see you guys